I'm joined by Alan Holford from BoxTube. Alan, tell us a little bit about what BoxTube is and what they do.
Yeah, so BoxTube's a startup company that's developing rapid loading solutions for the sort of plastic boxes that you'll have your supermarket shopping delivered in, or that you might see if you work in a retailer. And we can load 550 of these onto a lorry in under a minute, or up to 800 onto a train carriage in just 11 seconds. And that is really good for sustainability, because it means that freight can switch from road to rail very, very quickly. And therefore you can get more freight onto rail, because you can start to have freight trains going in amongst the passenger trains without disrupting the passenger timetable.
How do people keep tabs of their consignments? Because you've got these massive numbers of boxes. How are they tagged? Are they done electronically, or done with barcodes or QR codes? How are they done? Yeah,
so we're looking to have a combination of QR codes and what we call radio frequency ID, which is the same as your contactless credit cards. And that enables every box to be individually identifiable and tracked by an overall algorithm, which will route all the boxes to their individual destinations, and also take care of the tracking of them and the billing of them. And that means that you can have public infrastructure for the transport, which means basically getting the freight onto rail. So a lorry that might be a privately owned haulage company can drop off a consignment of 550 boxes to a warehouse next to the rail. They can then go onto that rail, and even if they're set for different destinations, that can all be individually controlled by the computer system, and then they can be dropped off at individual stations along route and picked up by other hauliers to take them to their final destination.
So rail is going to do the long haul, and it's just going to be short hop either end?
Yeah, so first and last mile, obviously you've got to go to several different destinations, so there's lots of different options for that. You've got electric vans, even e-bikes and cycle couriers do that last mile. And eventually we're looking at designing a tunnel networks for our very dense cities. I've modelled one on the West Midlands urban area. The 2 million people that live in that area could be served by a tunnelling system. And tunnels are much cheaper the smaller they get. So by the fact that we're using these small boxes means that you can actually do that cost effectively and then use it as much as possible. So you could have your waste and recycling collection, your post collection, and all the goods delivered to that area, all in these underground tunnels, and take all that heavy goods traffic off the streets.
For the benefit of people who haven't had the advantage that I've had and seen the system demonstrated, just tell us how big the boxes are. To me, they're just like, I have a recycling box, so I put my glass out every other week, that sort of size, or a medium-sized storage box?
Yeah, exactly that. They're similar size to your recycling boxes, so they're 60 centimetres long by 40 centimetres wide, which is a very standard size in warehousing and automation. And that's one of the key things, is if you use boxes of that size, they're automatically compatible with a lot of other technology used in warehouses, like robotics, like your storage, racking, and all these systems. And it's about being collaborative as an approach, so that you can have that standardized box as a base, and then all sorts of innovators, whether they're from us or from other companies, can come in and design ways to make that work better. It's exactly the same as the wooden pallet that we've had around since, that was developed in World War I, 1914. And as soon as that was developed, people started inventing forklift trucks, pallet racking, and all these other inventions that are designed to handle that specific item. If you can do that with plastic boxes at the smaller level, then our granular freight can be that much more efficient as well.
What about scaling it up and rolling it out on a larger scale?
So at the moment we're developing the technology to get to a working commercially ready prototype, and then it would depend a bit on the opportunities that arise. Initially we were thinking that we would first develop it for road going vehicles, HGVs, because that can then be used in closed loop logistics, companies that are taking from their distribution centres to their individual locations, their retail stores, and that's still an option. But actually we've had a lot of interest from people building big infrastructure, rail networks, tram networks, and a lot of cities are adding trams and things to their solution. And so we would potentially, if we can get interest to go on rail straight away alongside the road, we could potentially be able to go straight into that. And that would be a case of partnering with large companies that would like to help us deliver that large-scale infrastructure project.
I've got a lot out of today, just finding out the range of things that people are looking into and experimenting with, and finding out that people are often looking at sort of different aspects of the same thing. What have you got out of today?
It's been absolutely fantastic to talk to all the people that are stakeholders in the industry, but the Accelerator in general over the last 6 months. It's been brilliant to collaborate with not only the staff and the support group within the Accelerator, but also a lot of the other companies. And in fact, we're going to collaborate with 3 or 4 of the other companies in the Accelerator in future projects and designing. And we have collaborated during this in sort of scoping out an animation that talks about how 3 of our companies could collaborate to deliver a whole end-to-end solution.
That's fantastic. That's all as a result of taking part in this.
Absolutely, yeah. This has been completely transformative for us as a company, and we wouldn't have been able to get as far as we are without it. Innovation in rail is very, very difficult and expensive, and there's a lot of barriers to entry. And if you're not a very large company, it's very difficult to get into the other test facilities to really bring on a solution like this. And the BCIMO is totally different to that. They're geared up to work with small and medium enterprises, and they really help foster us. I was probably the earliest stage of all the companies in the Accelerator, and I've not suffered as a disadvantage from that. Quite the opposite. I've been brought through and brought up to speed. Any ambitions for Cohort 2? Yeah, I've actually spoken to another company locally, and who are keen to apply, and I'm looking to help them in their application and go in with them so that they can use their technology to design parts for my solution that will bring it up forward and to a more commercially ready solution. Excellent. Thank you very much indeed. Alan Holford from BoxTube. Thank you.